slam right there.
Matt, obviously the technical on Mason changed the game, but why did your team fall apart after that?
Yeah, well, I thought Maryland did a great job of just being aggressive and getting the ball where they wanted to. Jameer Young broke us down, Akeem Hart. It just seemed like they were living about 8 feet from the rim right in the middle. They were just breaking us down off the dribble. And they were the aggressor. Give them credit. I thought we did a good job of handling their press, only having 7 turnovers, but we're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and they just dominated us. Out-rebounded us by 12. The combination of not being able to rebound and get some second chance opportunities on our end, I thought they did a great job of boxing us out. And then we got to be able to make some shots. I thought we had some looks. I thought they did a good job defending us, but we still had some looks. They could probably say the same thing on their end that just have to go down for us. We have to have a balance of driving the basketball, making threes, and getting post-ups for Zach. And when we don't have that balance, man, they're going to shrink the defense and do a better job. But back to your question, it was a big play. You don't realize at the time, you just think, it's not that big a deal. It's 2 points, they shoot free throws, but that's when the momentum swung right there.
Matt, why did they have the kind of success on the boards against you that nobody really has this year?
Right, obviously, the absolute answer, will come from film. The one thing, kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it is, they went after the ball more. They played hard, whatever that might be. They just had a better nose for the basketball. But give them credit, when you can stay out of your rotations and kind of stay home because you're not getting spread out and we're not making any shots, now it's a lot easier, because you have good block-out responsibility on the defensive end. But that's probably one of those questions, watching tape and kind of seeing it.
Coach, right here. It seemed like Braden really came out hot there and then
Yeah.
slowed down. What do you think changed there probably about halfway through the second half?
Well, trying to get him to be aggressive. We knew they'd come up in their transition when they were man and really try to get to Zach like they did the first game. And so we just told him to try to drive the basketball as much as possible and get in there and use his dribble through or play off of 2 feet if he doesn't have something for himself. But, I like his aggressiveness. I thought he did some good things. I think a lot of that credit needs to go to Maryland and also our inability to make a shot. So now, when you're not making shots, now you can kind of come in with that gap help and then try to load up right there. So I thought they did a good job there, just kind of keeping him out of the paint. Even though we got in there some, he didn't get in there as much. Then he had a couple where he missed them that I thought were okay shots. It just didn't go down for him. But I give a lot of credit to, I thought Maryland's defense really picked up at that time. They kind of ratcheted things up.
Matt, how would you assess life in this conference night in, night out?
Well, right now it stinks for me. But, it's part of it. I've been in this league for, as a player and a coach and, 23 years. And so you see the ups and you see the downs and it's really hard to win on the road, more than anything. Like the venues, the students were great. I was hoping it was that early start and people didn't kind of trickle in, for a while. But I know it's tough in a metropolitan area like this with that 6:30 start. But it's just difficult. There's times as a coach where you feel like you can beat anybody, and there's times like you don't feel like you can beat anybody. It's just you never kind of are in that middle ground. But you also got to understand, being on the road, you got to be about 10, 12 points better than your opponent, and we were not that tonight. And give them credit for that. But it's a fabulous league. When you look at the attendance, #1 attendance conference since 1976, since I was in kindergarten. I don't know where you guys were in '76. So it just kind of shows you, to the league and how difficult things are. And Maryland's been great. Maryland has been really, really good for our conference. Then from a basketball standpoint, I can't talk for all sports because I don't know. But they've been really, really good. They've had great teams. They've been competitive. And Kevin's going to do a great job. He's doing a great job. Go ahead.
You've mentioned multiple times about the shooting. Fletcher kind of struggled tonight.
Yes.
Was that defensively? Did you like the looks he was getting? He was just missing. Yeah. What was behind?
I think a couple of them, he needed to probably pass out. He was driving the basketball. The one time when Reese got that block on him at the basket, getting deep against size, you got to be careful. You got to get the dump downs or the spray outs and try to get that. But he went through this a little bit in non-conference, and I just told our team, I'm like, you know, I'm not in the business of taking bad players. Like, you know, I'm gonna take good basketball players, but we have skilled guys. I'm not gonna allow people to consistently shoot shots that they've never made before. He's a big time shooter. He's gonna be a great player for us. He's a great player right now, but we had this stretch, not just with him, but with a handful of our guys in non-conference, and everybody, you know, called in the radio show, like, why are you doing this? Why are you like doing it? Because I believe in them. I believe they're gonna make shots, but you gotta be able to generate enough good shots. And I thought tonight, you know, we had some good looks that we needed to knock down, but we didn't have a bunch of them because I thought Maryland's defense was pretty good. Go ahead.
And things have kind of gotten a little off kilter 3 of the last 4 games,
Mhm.
a little bit of a rough stretch.
Yes.
How did you, as a coach, get it back together before the Big Ten tournament starts?
Yeah, just your preparation. Like I'm not really worried about the Big Ten tournament. I'm worried about the NCAA tournament. You don't get judged on that one, the Big Ten tournament. So, you know, just stay process based. You know, believe in your team, but all of a sudden be honest about what's going on. Like we got to be tougher. Like we can't shore up turnovers and then not rebound. Like you got to come in here and win the possession battle. You know, you got to have more rebounds in them. You got fewer turnovers. Now you can start right there and really work towards something. We didn't do that. And so when you get on the road and you have fewer possessions, and now you don't shoot well, oh, that's going to be a long night versus a quality team.
Going back to attendance and going back to atmospheres, I mean, there was a couple of years when COVID and the pandemic really just, you know, students weren't as engaged or wasn't involved.
Right.
On the road at home, how cool is it to be,
Yeah.
you know, on a mental basis, even though you're on the losing side, being in atmospheres now that you're feeding off the energy of people?
Right, it's great, man. This is like when you walk in here and nobody is for you, that's a beautiful thing. And the thing that you want to do is hear that silence at the end instead of those cheers. You know, and like the cheers like leaving but I thought Maryland did a really good job. You always hear people get mad on court storms. And we've lost 3 games, but 5 last year. So we've had 8 court storms in 2 years. So Maryland's winning in their security. They're #1. They did a great job tonight. So they kicked our ass, and they kicked our ass in the court storm. So, but no, I thought they did a really good job, and that's just, you know, just professional. Like just trying to help us, and Kevin was great there at the end because the time worked perfectly where we could get that and get out of there. And a couple of our guys got pinballed at Northwestern, and that was a kind of a tough deal. But it's hard, like, right? Like you don't sit there, you can't practice that with your security and everybody. But I thought this atmosphere was great. I think all the atmospheres and environments. We got a chance to play Penn State in the Palestra. I mean, that was cool, man. I've never been there. Like that was unbelievable. Like that was, and it was cool we won. A lot cooler than this. But like, no, it's, you know, I've had a couple people come after me, like from a job standpoint, and I always just think, will it be better than that right there every single night? And I don't know I think that answer is no, it won't be. This is big time. Going to Northwestern and losing, going to Indiana and losing, going, hey man, you know, you got to have some toughness. You got to have a backbone. You got to go. You got to be, but that's what you wanted. You know, you wanted to sharpen you, want it to make you better. But no, I love this league. This league's great.
One more, John.
Matt, you brought up the perimeter and an opposing defense's ability then to shrink the floor if those shots aren't falling.
Right.
When you have the best player in the country
Correct.
in college basketball, in Zach, there's obviously so much put on him.
Right.
How much do you kind of view the state of things of what's happening sort of around him for what you guys are doing going forward?
Right, yeah, you need that combination because now they're gonna, you know, you're making their decision for them. Like, we gotta make their decision for them by making shots. And now they gotta stay out with somebody, and now you have driving lanes. Now you have post-ups, and the guys aren't as close to come in and scrape and help. And so I think that is the key, is the combination. And that's what we've really tried to do with our evaluation and our process and recruiting, is get skill. And then we've been able to get good big guys, you know, through the years. And so now that's something that I really just talked to our team about, is like you got to believe in yourself also. And you got to believe in yourself when things aren't going your way, which is a really hard thing to do, but the good ones get it figured out. And I think we got a lot of good ones in our locker room, and I think we'll get it figured out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.